How large was the inheritance you received?
Huh. As Tom uttered those words on the night of my father's funeral, asking about the inheritance, a sinking feeling gripped me. Still reeling from the loss of my father, his question caught me off guard. In that vulnerable moment, I decided to fabricate the truth, claiming that I hadn't received a single penny from the inheritance. To my surprise, Tom's face lit up with a smirk, as if my response confirmed his suspicions. I knew it," he exclaimed triumphantly. "Your parents never valued you. It's clear they saw you as incompetent." His words pierced through me, a sharp reminder of the lack of support I felt from my own family. Then came his ultimatum, delivered with a callousness that stunned me. "I want a divorce," he declared matter-of-factly. "I can't be married to someone who's suddenly poor. I've already found someone else, so pack your bags and leave." In a daze, I found myself signing divorce papers, my heart heavy with betrayal and hurt. As I left, Tom and his family laughed at my misfortune, reveling in my misery. But little did they know, their mockery only fueled my sense of liberation. You see, my name is Lucy, and my life has been a series of struggles. Growing up, my younger sister Kim always seemed to overshadow me, with our mother and consistently favoring her. My father Dan, though supportive, was often absent due to work. Denied the opportunity to attend college, I worked tirelessly to support our family, only to be met with further demands from my mother. The burden of financing Kim's education fell squarely on my shoulders, with my own dreams brushed aside. But despite the constant unfairness, it was Tom's betrayal that finally opened my eyes. His rejection was a blessing in disguise, freeing me from a toxic marriage and a family that never truly appreciated me. As I walked away from that life, tears streaming down my face, I realized something profound. I may not have inherited wealth or status, but I had gained something far more valuable: my freedom and independence. No longer shackled by expectations or obligations, I vowed to forge my own path, to carve out a life where my worth wasn't measured by material wealth or societal standards. And as I stepped into the unknown, I did so with a newfound sense of strength and resilience, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Frustration simmered within me as I listened to the familiar refrain of criticism from my family. "If you can't even do that, then you're just seriously worthless." Kim's words echoed in my mind, a painful reminder of the toxic environment I had grown up in. Unable to bear the constant belittlement any longer, I made the difficult decision to leave my parents' house and strike out on my own. Living alone brought a sense of freedom I had never known before. No longer burdened by the endless chores and expectations of my family, I relished the opportunity to chart my own course. At first, my father sent me a little money to help out, but it didn't last long. Soon enough, my mother intervened, accusing me of being a thief for accepting money without permission. Her letter, demanding repayment for every cent my father had sent, felt like a final betrayal. Unable to argue or reason with her, I complied silently, resenting the injustice of it all. With a heavy heart, I sent the money and quietly moved to a new apartment, determined to leave the toxicity of my past behind. Years passed, and I found solace in my work, where I met Tom. His kindness and understanding offered a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak world. When we decided to marry, I saw it as an opportunity to sever ties with my family for good. Returning to my parents' house to share the news of my marriage, I was met with a sight that filled me with sadness. My father, once strong and resilient, now looked frail and worn, his body bent with age and pain. My heart ached at the sight of him, a stark reminder of the toll that years of hardship had taken. But any sympathy I felt was quickly extinguished by my mother's cold words. Her disdain for me was palpable, her resentment evident in every glance. And as she spoke of my father's injury with disdain, I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger at her callousness. Tom's presence brought a momentary distraction, but even he couldn't shield me from the sting of my sister's barbs. Kim's calculated flirtations and thinly veiled insults cut deeper than any words, reminding me once again of my place in the family hierarchy. With a heavy heart, I realized that nothing had changed. Despite my efforts to break free, I was still bound by the chains of my past. And as I stood in that familiar hallway, surrounded by the ghosts of my childhood, I knew that I could never truly escape. "I'm sorry, Lucy," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the hum of the machines. "I didn't want you to worry." Tears welled up in my eyes as I took his frail hand in mine. "Don't apologize, Dad," I choked out, struggling to keep my voice steady. "I'm here for you." For days, I stayed by my father's bedside, praying for his recovery and tending to his every need. Meanwhile, my mother and sister remained conspicuously absent, their indifference cutting me to the core. As the days stretched into weeks, my father's condition worsened, and the doctor's prognosis grew increasingly grim. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't save him, and one fateful night, he slipped away, leaving behind a void that seemed impossible to fill. In the days that followed, grief engulfed me, threatening to drown me in its depths. But amidst the pain and sorrow, a fire ignited within me, a determination to honor my father's memory and protect his legacy. With renewed resolve, I confronted my mother and sister, demanding answers for their callousness and neglect. But their responses were as cold and indifferent as ever, their words a stark reminder of the gulf that separated us. Disheartened but undeterred, I took charge of my father's affairs, ensuring that his final wishes were carried out with the dignity and respect he deserved. And as I sifted through his belongings, I stumbled upon a letter, a testament to his unwavering love and belief in me. "My dearest Lucy," the letter began, in his familiar scrawl. "If you're reading this, then I'm no longer with you, but know that I'll always be watching over you from above. You are always the light of my life, my source of strength and inspiration, and though I may not have said it enough, I'm immensely proud of the person you've become." Tears streamed down my cheeks as I read his words, my heart overflowing with love and gratitude. In that moment, I knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, my father's spirit would guide me, giving me the strength to carry on. With newfound purpose, I vowed to live my life in a way that would make my father proud, to stand up for what was right, to cherish the ones I loved, and to never lose sight of the values he had instilled in me. And as I bid farewell to my childhood home, leaving behind the pain and heartache of the past, I stepped into the future with hope in my heart, knowing that my father's love would always be my guiding light. Tom's question caught me off guard. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of how much to reveal to him. After a brief internal struggle, I decided to be honest. "According to the lawyer who contacted me, I'm set to inherit $3 million. I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral despite the turmoil swirling inside me. Tom's eyes widened in surprise. $3 million? That's a significant amount, he exclaimed, his voice tinged with excitement. "I mean, that's great news for you, Lucy." I couldn't help but feel a pang of discomfort at his reaction. It was as if he saw me only through the lens of my newfound wealth, rather than as the person he claimed to love. But I pushed aside my misgivings, reminding myself that Tom had always been a practical man, driven by ambition and financial security. "Yeah, it is," I replied, forcing a smile. "But it's not just about the money. It's about what my father intended for me, his way of looking out for me, even after he's gone." Tom nodded, though his expression remained unreadable. Of course," he said, his tone carefully neutral. "Well, I'm here for you, Lucy. Whatever you need, just let me know." Despite his assurances, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered between us. It was as if a distance had sprung up between us, one that I couldn't quite bridge. As the days passed, I found myself grappling with conflicting emotions, gratitude for my father's foresight and generosity, and resentment towards my mother and sister for their deceitful actions. And amidst it all, Tom's presence felt increasingly like a burden, a reminder of the compromises I had made in the name of love. But I pushed aside my doubts, focusing instead on the task at hand, retrieving my inheritance and securing my future. With determination in my heart, I set out to confront my mother and sister, prepared to fight for what was rightfully mine. As I stood before them, facing their accusations and hostility, I drew strength from my father's memory, reminding myself of his unwavering love and belief in me. And though they tried to block my path at every turn, I refused to back down, determined to reclaim what was rightfully mine. In the end, justice prevailed, and I emerged victorious, holding the hidden bank book in my hands as tangible proof of my father's love and my own resilience. And as I walked away from that house of lies and deceit, I knew that I was finally free to forge my own path, free to pursue my dreams, and free to choose my own destiny. And as for Tom, well, he remained by my side, his loyalty tested but ultimately unwavering. And though our relationship would face its share of challenges in the days to come, I knew that together we would weather any storm, our love stronger than ever before. Kim's voice was filled with venom and accusation, echoing through the phone and sending a chill down my spine. It was clear that she blamed me for the unraveling of her carefully constructed plans. "You did this to yourself, Kim," I replied calmly, refusing to let her accusations rattle me. "You and Mom made your choices, and now you have to face the consequences." There was a brief silence on the other end of the line, and then Kim let out a bitter laugh. "Consequences? What consequences? You think you've won, Lucy? You think you're better than us because of some stupid inheritance? Well, let me tell you something, money doesn't make you better than anyone, and it certainly doesn't make you happy." Her words struck a nerve, dredging up old insecurities and doubts. But I refused to let them consume me. I had fought too hard for my freedom, and I wasn't about to let Kim or anyone else take it away from me. "I may not have inherited much in terms of money, Kim," I said, my voice steady and firm. "But I have something far more valuable, my integrity, my self-respect, and the knowledge that I did the right thing. And no amount of money can buy that." There was a click on the other end of the line, signaling that Kim had hung up. And as I stared at my phone, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure wash over me. The chapter of my life that had been dominated by my toxic family was finally coming to an end. In the days that followed, I focused on rebuilding my life, surrounding myself with people who truly cared about me and supporting me. And though the scars of my past would always remain, I refused to let them define me. As for Tom, well, he had made his choice and I had made mine. And though part of me still felt a pang of sadness for what could have been, I knew that I was better off without him. And so, armed with nothing but my strength and determination, I stepped boldly into the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. For I knew that no matter what obstacles I faced, I would always emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. As I stood in front of the picture of my father, a sense of peace washed over me. Despite all the turmoil and pain my family had caused me, I knew that my father had always been there for me, silently supporting me in his own way. With a deep breath, I gathered my things and prepared to leave for work. As I stepped out of my house, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the life I had built for myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and that was all that mattered. As I walked down the street, I couldn't help but smile at the thought of my father watching over me from above. He may have been gone, but his love and guidance would always be with me, guiding me through life's ups and downs. And as I walked, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, I would face them with courage and strength, knowing that my father was watching over me every step of the way. For in the end, it was his love that had set me free and allowed me to truly live my life on my own terms. As the days passed, I found solace in the routine of my new life. My job as an office clerk kept me busy during the day, and in the evenings, I would return to the cozy comfort of my home, surrounded by the memories of my father. With each passing day, I felt myself growing stronger, more confident in my abilities, and more determined to forge my own path. Gone were the days of being controlled and manipulated by my toxic family. Now, I was the master of my own destiny. But despite the newfound independence, there were still moments of loneliness that crept in. Memories of happier times with my father would flood my mind, reminding me of the love and warmth that had once filled our home. During those moments, I would often find myself seeking solace in the simple pleasures of life. I would take long walks in the park, soaking in the beauty of nature and finding peace in the quiet serenity of the outdoors. And amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life, I also found comfort in the company of new friends. People who accepted me for who I was, without judgment or expectation, and who helped me rediscover the joy of companionship. But above all, it was the unwavering love and support of my father that continued to guide me through life's challenges. His memories served as a beacon of light in the darkest of times, reminding me of the strength and resilience that lay within me. And so, as I stood on the threshold of a new chapter in my life, I knew that no matter what lay ahead, I would face it with courage, determination, and the unshakable belief that my father's love would always be with me, guiding me every step of the way. In the tranquil evenings, I often found myself sitting by the window, gazing at the starry sky. The quietude of the night allowed my mind to wander, reflecting on the journey that had brought me to this moment. Memories of my childhood with my father would intertwine with thoughts of the challenges I had overcome, creating a tapestry of experiences that shaped who I had become. As time went on, I began to explore new hobbies and interests, eager to expand my horizons and embrace the possibilities that life had to offer. I delved into the world of literature, losing myself in the pages of captivating stories and immersing myself in the wisdom of timeless classics. Each book became a companion on my journey, offering solace and inspiration in times of need. In addition to my love for reading, I discovered a passion for gardening, transforming my backyard into a lush oasis filled with vibrant flowers and verdant foliage became a source of joy and fulfillment. Tending to the plants with care and attention allowed me to connect with nature on a deeper level, finding peace and tranquility amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life. But perhaps the greatest joy of all came from the bonds I forged with those around me. Whether it was sharing laughter and stories with colleagues at work or spending quality time with friends over a cup of tea, each interaction brought warmth to my heart and reminded me of the beauty of human connection. And through it all, my father's presence remained ever present, a guiding light that illuminated my path and filled my heart with love. Though he was no longer physically by my side, his spirit lived on in the memories we had shared and the lessons he had imparted. As I looked towards the future, I felt a sense of optimism and excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. Armed with the strength and resilience I had gained from overcoming adversity, I embraced each day with gratitude and determination, knowing that with my father's love in my heart, there was nothing I couldn't achieve.